Welcome back to the Quiet Millionaire, where we don't chase wealth, we regulate into it. Ever notice how even rest feels like failure? You block out a day, you close your laptop, you try to put the world on pause, and something in your chest still tightens. It's like there's a voice somewhere deep in your body asking, are you sure you can afford to stop? That tension didn't start last week. It's been building longer than you'll admit in public. Let that land. Ever feel like slowing down is more terrifying than burning out? You talk about needing breaks, about balance, but the truth is what lies on the other side of all that momentum feels like a cold, quiet doubt, as if the whole structure of your safety is built on motion. You already know this. There's nothing to prove. Ever wonder why urgency still runs your mornings, even when you know better? You can see the pattern, you've read the books, but when the sun's barely up, your mind's already scanning for problems, identifying threats. Your nervous system is trained on scarcity. You rain not broken for that your body is just telling you what it thinks you need to survive. Maybe you notice even the small wins come with an edge. You close the deal, you hit the number, everyone around you says well done, but your jaw is tight, and you can remember the last time you felt ease last more than a few seconds. That's the discipline. Your body remembers tension more than it trusts relief. Today, we're not talking mindset. We're addressing what's underneath your money behavior. It's not about positive reframes or productivity hacks. It's about why your system has learned to brace for loss, to expect collapse, and why safety in your bones is more foundational to how you earn than any clever strategy. This isn't theory. This is your nervous system adapting in real time. Stay with it because in a minute, you'll see the pattern for what it is, and you'll know exactly where we're headed next. This is the sabotage pattern. You probably won't like the way it sounds at first. We've normalized burnout. We call it progress. Every time you respond to one more notification after hours, skip a meal, or chase the smallest win by putting your own state second, you're repeating a loop. You're not failing. You're adapting. You already know this. Let me ground it. You're sitting at the dinner table. Your kids' voices blur out because your mind is still half in slack. That ping feels like a test, so you respond. Quick, sharp. You promise yourself it'll just be a second, but you've broken presence. Your family feels it. Even if they don't say a word, you notice later that you barely tasted your meal. That's the cost. Micro abandonments. Stacking up quietly, or maybe it's the morning. You're in the shower supposed to be your one quiet moment, but you left your phone on the counter, screen lit, just in case. A client's email unsets your peace before you towel off. You walk out wired, and when you apologize for taking a full day off, you've trained yourself to expect pushback, not from the world, from yourself. Here's the common thread. The nervous system learns. That tension in your shoulders, that shallow breath, the way your jaw stays tight around money conversations, it's the outcome of chronic rehearsal. You practice stress, ritualize urgency, and reward yourself for the friction. Not the result, not the clarity. The strain itself becomes your marker for effort. If this shows up in your week, pause there. Notice it, not with shame, but precision. Once you can name the loop, that's when it breaks, when you see the pattern. You stop participating on autopilot. That's the discipline. Now that we see it, let's shift.
Most people driving themselves to the edge will say they're building. But that's not building. That's bracing. When your work comes out of urgency, you're operating from the same place as someone trying to survive. That's not sustainable. That's running on fumes and calling it fuel. The first shift isn't about doing less. It's about doing what you do from a place that isn't wired for threat. There's nothing dramatic about it. Just a clear, unbreakable baseline. Forcing output looks like drafting emails from a tight chest. Stacking calls when your jaw is clenched. Making the next deal just to get relief from the last. That's compulsion. You already know this. So, building inner safety means your system learns to trust you in demand. You can move money, set terms, and pause negotiations without that sense someone's trying to take what you've built. Watch what changes. You negotiate without panic. Boundaries stop feeling like walls. You don't misinterpret a slow week for failure. Real power is less about what you do, more about how you do it. Here's what I want you to try. Next time your body gears up, shoulders tense, breath short, stop. Don't push the task. Take 60 seconds, feet flat on the floor, eyes open. Notice your lower back. Breathe, slow and steady, into that space. Don't aim to relax. Just signal, I'm safe right now. Feel the ground. That's it. Now send the email, make the call, or walk into the meeting. Notice the difference. The discipline is in pausing, not in plowing through. This isn't a fix. It's a frame. Anchor this once. Repeat when it wobbles. Building inner safety is how you stabilize your growth. And stabilizing is what scales. Most high performers don't notice how attached they've become to their output. The rush of completing a project, finalizing a deal, or just ticking boxes off a to-do list. It feels like you're restacking up proof that you matter. It's almost invisible until a slow week hits. Suddenly, a quiet few days are more uncomfortable than a 12-hour grind. You feel off balance. The mind starts scanning for new ways to justify itself, chasing that next hit of productivity just to feel okay again. In my own business, I watched how easy it was to link self-worth to output. Years ago, a client called and said, "I don't know what to do on these slower weeks. I feel like I'm failing unless I'm constantly producing." I told him, that's the trap. We're taught to see value as something we earn, not something we own. But real leverage comes from detaching identity from activity. Over time, I changed how I measured a good week. It stopped being about how much I shipped and became about whether my actions felt strategic, congruent, or necessary. Here's what I want you to try. Begin to notice when your nervous system looks for proof through productivity. Literally, catch the moment. Maybe at the end of the workday, noticing an urge to send one more email just so you don't feel idle. Pause there. Instead, ask, am I actually adding value? Or just trying to erase discomfort? You'll see the...
Let's flip this. Most people run on urgency. They feel the jolt to respond. Now, answer the email before they close the tab. Transfer the money before the rate goes up. Say yes before someone else takes the deal. But all that energy, all that speed, it never leaves you feeling safe or ahead. It pushes you into a default that never rests. So today, build around this. Replace your urge for immediate moves with a deliberate, even tempo rhythm, one you can hold in real life, not just on good days. This isn't about slowing down and losing your edge. It's the discipline of setting windows. This is when I check my accounts. This is the half hour when calls get my full mind. This is where I decide, not react. If you hold that line, even once, you feel it. There's actual order beneath all the noise. Here's a grounded financial example. I worked with a founder who moved money at the first sign of market shifts. Every alert, every headline. He'd sell, relevance, sometimes even buy at the worst time. It felt smart in the moment, but after several quarters, gains were lost to transaction fees and missed recoveries. We replaced his strategy with 2 set decision points per quarter. He still tracked the news, but unless it was an actual emergency, he'd wait for those windows. Result: less churn, better returns, nearly zero anxiety spikes. The urgency didn't vanish, but it got contained by rhythm. His nervous system finally had room to breathe. This isn't a fix, it's a frame. Most people get stuck thinking they'll fall behind if they pause, if they build their own tempo. But the real loss is in letting volatility set your pace. If this shows up in your week, pause there. Notice where you let urgency dictate your moves. Anchor a new rhythm once, then repeat it every time you notice the urge. That's the discipline. You already know this. We're not after overnight transformations here. If you've been listening, you already feel what's shifted. First, the discipline isn't more force. It's noticing where your system wants to grip or fix and anchoring safety there instead. This isn't abstract. It happens when you close your laptop before the urge to squeeze out one more email. It happens when you hold the line on a nighttime routine, not because sleep is productive, but because your steadiness tomorrow depends on how you treat yourself tonight. Second, those moments where you want to double-check yourself, where productivity calls like a siren. You can let them happen and still not measure your worth there. You get to pause, even when every muscle inside wants to translate rest into output. That's the work. Stepping out of urgency, that's third, isn't an event. It's the discipline of parenting your own time. When you feel urgency, don't race to move through it. Let yourself slow down. Stillness is confrontational for most, but it's where the shift settles in. A day isn't lost by moving carefully. That's quiet wealth. Nothing to chase, nothing to prove, just a sustained, grounded rhythm that carries across years. Here's what I want you to try. Start with these truths, not as goals, but as standards. I create wealth from stability, not strain. My worth doesn't move with today's output. I move at a rhythm that lasts decades, not just days. I choose presence over urgency. I protect my clarity with structure instead of pressure. I let myself rest and expect no apology. I build capacity, not just results. I trust quiet wealth is already under my feet. Quiet wealth is built on capacity. Quiet wealth is built on capacity. Quiet wealth is built on capacity. Right after this, before you do anything else, pause and notice the first place your body wants to rush. That moment is the entry point. Let that land.